What's going on, guys? Moon3PO here. In today's video, we're going to be going over Ronald Acuña and if it's time to buy or sell his trading cards. Now, I wish I was making this video under better circumstances here, but of course, if you haven't seen the news or seen the video, Ronald Acuña has unfortunately injured his other knee, his left knee this time around. In 2021, he injured his right knee this time around, injuring his left knee, completely tearing off the ACL, and it's going to be out for the remainder of this year, and it's probably going to miss a majority and a big part of next year. So in this video, we're going to compare his numbers as to what he was doing last year, because he was a little bit on a cold streak here right now. It wasn't on to the best start. So we're going to compare his numbers, dive deep into it. We are going to be looking at some advanced metrics. Along with that, we are going to be comparing him to some modern day GOATs like Mookie Betts and Mike Trout, as those are the top two players in the game and whose card market is relatively well, and also look at his numbers here compared to WAR by age to other GOATs like Ken Griffey Jr., Mickey Mantle, and see where he was at on the trajectory. And of course, obviously, we're going to compare his card market, see what his cards are doing in comparison to his Bowman cards and his rookie cards, and see if this is the time to buy or sell. So with all that being said, let's dive deep into the video. So before we compare his 2023 season to his 2024 season, let's go ahead and take a look at his numbers as a whole. Now, these numbers here are coming from Fangraphs. That's the website I like to use. You can use Baseball Reference, you can use MLB.com, Baseball Savant. We are going to look at Baseball Savant as well. But this is just what I use, and these are the numbers I like to look at when I'm, researching players for my own evaluation. So you can see here, 2018 made his debut, had a pretty good showing in this sort of 111 games. At 26 home runs, 64 RBIs, 293 batting average, pretty respectable OPS in at 917, and put up a 4.4 WAR, so pretty respectable there in his rookie season. 2019 full year under his belt, had 41 home runs, drove in over 100. Same thing here, at batting average a little bit lower at 280, and still OPS a little bit lower, but still respectable at 883, and put up a 4.8 WAR. So obviously pretty similar to what he did in his 2018 season. 2020, I just like to throw out as a whole. You can still look at it, but COVID year, it was a really awkward year for a lot of players. So I typically don't like to look at 2020, but you can if you want to. 2021, that is when he sustained his other knee injury. You can see here in his short stint in just 82 games, was having a pretty good year. Had already had 24 home runs, drove in over 52, was hitting 283, had an on-base percentage of 394 and an OPS over 900. So pretty respectable there, and was already at another 4.4 WAR. So he was already pretty good on that trajectory, but unfortunately that injury did stop him there a little bit. 2022, coming back here from his rehab, you could tell here, not as you can tell, he probably went through an awkward transition. Only had 119 games under his belt, no full spring training for him. 15 home runs, only drove in 50, had an on-base percentage here of 351, OPS over sitting at 764, had a 2.4 WAR. So you could tell here there was just probably just a lot of rehabbing that he was probably doing that probably derailed that season here a little bit. Then you can see here 2023, a full year under his belt once again, 159 games. Full year, 41 home runs, 106 RBIs driven in, hit for 337, walk percentage over 10%. His K percentage, which is the big thing for me, was dramatically down, only striking out 11.4% compared to his other years striking out over, this year, 2020. Like I said, don't look at it, but, 2018, 2019 striking out over 25%. So that was a pretty dramatic drop off. So really, really impressive there. On base percentage over 500, slugging over 596, OPS over 1,000, ISO 258, a 9.0 WAR, runs created plus standing at 170. So obviously that is why he won MVP, and that was a great year for him. He stole over, I believe, like 73 stolen bases. So you get to see here he was on a career year, and everybody thought that this was going to be the type of year that we could see from him moving forward. But you can see here in 2024 was off to a pretty slow start. Only had 4 home runs, only had driven in 15, batting average sitting at 250. K percentage higher, but you can see the strikeout rate back to that 23, pushing the 25%. So you can see here, not great. OPS also pretty low compared to his recent standards here. 716 OPS. You can kind of look at his 2022 year and maybe kind of see there was something maybe glaring there. ISO pretty low, was only sitting at 1.2 WAR. So you can see already that there was something going on here potentially with that knee. So now let's take a look at his 2023 season compared to his 2024 season. Now this is coming from courtesy of Baseball Savant. If you guys want to check this out for yourself, I will link down Baseball Savant down in the description down below, and along with Fangraphs if you guys want to check this out. So you can kind of see here his 2023 season. Not kind of, you can see here all red, which is what you want to see if you are evaluating hitters and or pitchers. And you can see here on the right hand side, a little bit lower, but you can still hear still in the red, but not what you were expecting him would from what he did in his 2023 season. You can see here expected WOBA at 460, was sitting at 349. Expected batting average 357, 262. Expected slugging 660, 430. Average velo around the same, 94.7 compared to 92.2, so a few points lower. We didn't have bat speed to the 2023 season, but we have it now in 2024. That's an own metric for itself. But sitting at 76.7%, so it was still swinging hard. It's still swinging fast. So I mean, I haven't really dove deep into that. So that's another number here that I have to do for another video if you guys want to see that. Hard hit percentage sitting at 55.2, 48.2. His chase rate wasn't chasing a lot, so that's why the strikeouts, was a little bit alarming because his chase rate or his chase percentage was a little bit, basically the same. His whiff rate, though, he was swinging and missing a lot. You can see here at 18.7%, now swinging and missing at 27.5%, and obviously, like we discussed here, the strikeouts being a lot higher. Didn't strike out at all last year, only at 11.4%, but now at 23.9%, you can see the dramatic change off there. Has never really been that great of a fielder, so that's why you see here these numbers are a little bit lower compared to his arm, but his range has not been that great. That's why I like looking at WAR, because WAR, you look at everything as a whole, as a hitter, a base runner, and a fielder. So he hasn't been a great fielder for his career, so we're going to see that compared to his WAR, compared to some of his companions here. So that is a pretty dramatic drop off here, but you can see here nothing dramatic here. And sprint speed sitting at 28 and sitting at 27.7. So not a big drop off. You can see here was already declining as far as of his numbers. Now focusing in on WAR, we can see WAR by age, and this is also courtesy of Fangraphs. Now these are some of the goats here in the game. These are just, again, my personal opinion, but I compared him to Ken Griffey Jr., Hank Aaron, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, Mickey Mantle, and Ricky Henderson, and we can compare him here. So Ronald Acuña Jr. here is going to be the little blue graph here. The orange is going to be Mookie Betts. The black bar is going to be Ken Griffey. Hank Aaron is going to be the green. The reddish, pinkish is going to be Mickey Mantle. And the yellow is going to be Ricky Henderson. As you can see here, compared to his companions, you can see here a little bit lower, but you can see here, maybe some of the injuries and just some of the things here. Maybe he's just not up to par as far as of some of the GOATs. You can see here pretty big dramatic change from compared to when you look at Ken Griffey Jr., Mike Trout, Mickey Mantle. You can see here he's pretty similar to Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts a little bit better than him by his age. You can see here by the age 24 season, a little bit similar. 25, a little bit similar. 26 here, Mookie Betts had a pretty big separation here. And you can see same thing for Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron had a pretty big drop off from those guys as well. Same thing with Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson, I just threw in because of the stolen bases, but I don't think he's really that dramatically that much of a great player. I mean, he's still a good player, but as far as when you think about GOATs, he's not really on my list. But compared to Mike Trout, and I want to throw in two modern players here as far as Mookie Betts and Mike Trout, because those are two of our, in my opinion, once again, modern GOATs, and their cards here do fairly well in the card marketplace. But you can just see here, Mickey Mantle's on his own, Hank Aaron's in a league of his own, and then Ken Griffey Jr. as well is in a league of his own. Now, I threw this in for fun because, like I mentioned here, Mookie Betts and Mike Trout are two of the arguably the best players that we have in our game here right now. Even Mike Trout, even with the injuries. So this is courtesy of StatHead, coming in from Baseball Reference here. These are through the first 7 seasons of their career. So we can see here, Mookie Betts, and we saw that in the last graph, they were pretty on par, but took a big separation, a little bit of a separation here. And you can see here again in the WAR, a total WAR, 45.8 WAR compared to 25.9. Obviously, the games are going to have a big difference. Mookie Betts, hopefully, knock on wood, has not had any dramatic injury. Ronald Acuña has now had 2. And you can see there with the plate appearances and the hits. So Mookie Betts standing out on that range. You can see here home runs. Ronald Acuña, 10 more. It's in at 165. Mookie Betts here driving in more. And you can tell Ronald Acuña what obviously the 73 stolen base is going to have a big impact on the stolen base here, sitting at 196. Batting average here higher for Mookie, and you can see your on base percentage and the slugging here not too dramatically off. On base percentage for Mookie sitting at 373, Ronald Acuña sitting at 379. Slugging off by 3 points. OPS a little bit of a difference here, but sitting at a 904. OPS plus, which is ballpark adjusted, which is what I like. Pretty similar, 135 for Mookie, and Ronald Acuña sitting at 139. So pretty similar when it comes to that. But again, the WAR is something you want to look at because obviously Mookie Betts is the better defender. Dude could play shortstop, second base, right field, center field. Put him anywhere, the dude could play it. Ronald Acuña, you throw him at second base, shortstop. Yeah, obviously he's not going to be able to do that. And obviously taking a look at the accolades, Ronald Acuña still being credited here for the Atlanta Braves World Series here. But you can see here Mookie Betts 2, even though if you want to put an asterisk next to the Dodger year. All-Star, same appearances. MVP, same thing. batting titles, and you can see here the Gold Gloves and the Silver Sluggers. Now, when compared to Mike Trout, obviously there is a dramatic difference. Mike Trout is in a league of its own. Close to 55 WAR, played more games even with his injuries here. Didn't really hit his injuries in his 7th season. Obviously, that came a little bit later in his career. Hits over 1,000 here, home runs 201, driving over 500 RBIs. Stolen bases here. Ronald Acuña does have the leg up here, but you can just take a look at the batting average, and on base slugging, OPS plus. Dramatic differences in those numbers. And then, of course, the big thing for Mike Trout, no championship, but you can see here 6 All-Star appearances, 2 MVPs, and 5 Silver Sluggers. So, I mean, accolades wise, I would say they're pretty close when it comes to, All-Stars, MVPs. But obviously the numbers itself are going to be dramatically different because, once again, Mike Trout is in a league of its own. So the cards we're going to be focusing on here is going to be his first Bowman Auto, his Chrome at a PSA 10. And raw, and at a PSA 10, just his standard base rookie card. So you can see here the pink graph here is going to be his PSA 10. So you can see here at 2021 hit over $7.5 thousand in a sale, so which is pretty crazy to me, and then hit a pretty big drop off. And then it kind of went up again and then dropped off. And then you can see here 2023 increase after he was, having and putting up his career numbers, and obviously right now seeing the drop off. And then we look at the blue. The little blue line graph here, that is going to be his raw card. So again, kind of seeing the same thing. So around that 2021 range, getting higher, dipped, went a little bit higher, dip, and then didn't really go up. Just kind of stayed, pretty stagnant here when he was putting up his career numbers. And then when you look at his base card, went high and hasn't really moved, but you get to tell, looking at the PSA 10 as far as a Chrome, had that high peak, went high, was pretty steady here when he was putting up his numbers, and then obviously the dip right now. So you can kind of see here, I'm recording this as far a day after the announcement of the injury, but you can see here with the numbers he was putting up right now, was seeing a little bit of the dip already. So it is going to be interesting to see moving forward what his cards do. And obviously, these are the cards that I'm focusing on. There's many cards you can focus on. You can focus on, his refractors, his other autos, his other rookie cards, and his other sets. But these are the cards that I just like to look at as far as when it comes when looking at a player's overall card market and seeing how the overall sentiment and the overall market is moving towards these cards. Now, before I get into, what you should be doing here with your cards, now, this is not meant to be taken as financial advice. I'm not telling you to go sell your whole Ronald Acuña collection if you have a whole collection, nor am I telling you to go buy a whole collection from somebody. This is my personal opinion. Investing in sports cards, investing in athletes is extremely risky. For situations like this, we don't know what these players are doing off the field, and when they're on the field, if an injury like this happens, you never know how they're going to bounce back. Now, as far as the Ronald Acuña, I don't have a big collection of Ronald Acuña Jr. If I'm being completely honest. I own a couple of his first Bowman Chromes, no autos or anything crazy of that nature. I just own a few of his cards. I don't have a personal collection. He is an exciting player, but I think right now, obviously with the injury, for me, when I'm going to my card shows or I'm looking at marketplaces, if that's my card posts or in Discords or on eBay, this may be a time for me to get into those cards, because obviously the injury happened. He was already putting up, a little bit of a dip compared to his numbers compared to his 2023 season. So this might be a time to go buy some cards. And with the cards that I do have, I don't plan on selling them. I think even before the injury, I wasn't going to sell any of his cards. Now, was I going to go out and buy some Ronald Acuña cards, Ronald Acuña Jr. cards? I don't think so. He's an exciting player. Do not get me wrong. He's an exciting player for the game. Love the way he plays, but he just wasn't a player that I had on my list. I have a list of players that I like to look for when I go to card shows or I'm on eBay or any other, selling platform. He wasn't on my list, but now with the injury, this could be once again that opportunity to buy some cards low, and maybe he makes a bounce back. Hopefully he bounce back. Maybe he comes back, puts up that MVP career numbers that we can see that he can do. And if that's the case, maybe once that peak comes back, if it comes back, maybe sell at that price point. But again, I am just one person, so again, do not take that as financial advice. Once again, I'm not telling you to go buy multiple Ronald Acuña Jr. cards or sell your whole collection. That's just my personal opinion. So for me, will definitely be keeping a look at some of his cards. I think it more than likely is going to dip. So I definitely, and his market here is definitely something I will be keeping an eye out here going forward, if it's online or at physical cards. So once again, I'm curious to get your opinion. What are you guys doing with your Ronald Acuña Jr. cards? Are you buying them? Are you selling them? Sound off in the comments down below. Again, a different style of video when it comes to, evaluating players. So if you guys enjoyed this, please feel free to leave a like. You guys have been killing it on the thumbs up, so I really do enjoy that. And if you have not hit yet, please feel free to hit the subscribe button as a freeway hip support channel. Y'all have also been killing that as well. I think we're sitting over pushing 430. My goal for the year is 500. Once you do hit 500, I will be doing a giveaway. It is going to be a Ellie de la Cruz card, so I will be giving that away. What it is yet, not going to show it off as far as of right now. So once we hit 500, definitely will be showing that off. So if you guys want to enter that giveaway once it comes, please feel free to hit subscribe to this channel. And if you guys want to follow my other social medias, link down in the description down below, all my other social medias, if you guys want to follow me and talk to me over there. All right, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.